great. And then you can choose whether you want it to be a monthly thing or you want it to be a one-time donation. It's your choice. Very easy to do. You can set it up on your MasterCard, your Visa, or Discover. It's encrypted. We've never had one issue in all the years we've been on air. Sound through PayPal, and it hums along. They're the largest bank worldwide, PayPal, by the way, and they work great. It's very convenient. You can do it on your mobile device, on your desktop version, but please do it today and become a member for the people. Help us out. We'd really appreciate that. The NFL players are feuding. You know, the league, the NFL, I believe they have been trying to be able to help these players that feel like the cause of Colin Kaepernick or what the causes are, or to be important to the players. So they've been trying concessions to try to do something. And here it is, the NFL has tried to say, you know what? We believe that a lot of these causes are noble. So we're going to try to help you with the causes that are important to you. So what does the NFL offer? They offer $100 million to causes that are considered important to African-American communities. Now, the exchange is for the players to end protests. However, it's not good enough. Miami Dolphins safety Michael Thomas, San Francisco 49ers Eric Reid withdrew from the Players Coalition, saying they felt misled by the decisions of leadership that is made on the behalf of the players. Philadelphia Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins, the former wide receiver, Antoine Bolden, are considered the leaders of the Players Coalition. Here's the joint statement from Thomas and Reid. With much thought and consideration, I've decided to officially withdraw my involvement in the Players Coalition founded by Malcolm Jenkins and Antoine Bolden. The Players Coalition was supposed to be formed as a group that represents NFL athletes who have been silently protesting social injustices and racism. However, Malcolm and Antoine can no longer speak on our behalf, as we don't believe the coalition's beliefs are in our best interest as a whole. We will continue to have dialogue with the league to find equitable solutions, but without Malcolm and Antoine as our representatives. Now, Reid, who was with the 49ers when former quarterback Colin Kaepernick was on the team, was the first player to join Kaepernick kneeling protests. Reid said he and other players have voiced concerns numerous times to Jenkins, expressing a desire to have a larger role in discussion with the NFL. He said neither he nor Thomas was privy to discussions about the NFL's $100 million offer. That was never discussed at any point, Reid said to ESPN. I felt like I've been misled. I won't accuse Malcolm of directly lying to me because I don't think that he's that type of guy, but I will say he's misled us. And shoot, if that's what lying is, then that's what it is. Jenkins denied Reid's claim that he and Thomas were left in the dark. They understood the entire scope of the plans, Jenkins was telling ESPN. Last time we had conversations with Goodell and Troy Vincent, Michael Thomas, and Eric Reid were on that call. They understood the proposal for this to now be less about the actual work and more about who wants to be in the forefront or to be the leader is disappointing, Jenkins continued. It's especially disappointing for us to hear this in the media and now be put in position where we have to answer for all these questions. All of these conversations could have been between us as players. It's a little disappointing. The money from the NFL would be allocated to the United Negro College Fund, 25% of the Dream Corps. 25% of the remaining 50% would go to the Players Coalition itself, which is a 501c3, 501c4 nonprofit organization that has hired the Hopewell Foundation to oversee its efforts. It's unclear whether more players share Reid and Thomas' view of the coalition and the NFL's proposal. You know, I hate to draw this parallel, but many people have seen the Colin Kaepernick, and from this vantage, as being anti-patriotic and not uniting, but dividing people and being very, very condescending to our country and to our flag and to anybody that's in uniform. or anybody at that is in the stands, or anybody that tunes in to watch NFL football and seeing people kneel, where, to me, it's a time where we need more patriotism, not less. We need more people united than divided. That's just me, but the parallel is Black Lives Matter. No matter how much money that you could offer, no matter how much you could throw at them and offer to do it, you have to have people willing to roll up their sleeves and get to work. You know, it's nice to be able to throw some money out. And I don't see players really giving too much of their salaries, if anything, to these causes themselves. You see Colin Kaepernick writing $1 million to the United Negro College Fund? I don't see it happening. Do you see him volunteering? You got static pictures of him at boys' clubs? Do you see kids around him mentoring underprivileged kids? You don't see it happening, do you? No, you don't, and you're not going to see it happening. See, the optics, that's what Washington talks about, you know, with photo ops and what's going on and things like that. You think that he would be built up a little bit by some professional PR people that would at least be able to give him some of that optics. But in shoes, it's just this more divisiveness. And you think that this players coalition would be excited because the NFL is losing viewership. They're losing interest in people that are coming to the games, watching the games. They're like, fine, if these things are really near and dear to you, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to help you. Here's $100 million. That's a lot of money for a lot of great causes. Nobody's denying that a lot of these groups do a lot of good, but it's not good enough for the groups. I'm thinking, are you worried that the money is not going to be appropriated, articulated? Do you feel like these causes that they've mentioned are not good enough for you? What's the problem? Well, now they have this new gimmick that's coming up where they're going to wear cleats or something like that for the next big game. Well, there's a lot of great causes out there, and I guess what they're doing is they're going to raise money, I guess, with different cleats and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on here. But NFL said it would contribute nearly $100 billion to causes important to the black community if players will just stand during the national anthem. But not all the players were on board for the proposal. So basically, the league submitted the final draft of the proposal to players earlier in the week, seeking an arrangement that players will stand for the anthem in return to put an end to this controversial movement that former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick began last season. Players were expected to discuss the proposal during the scheduled conference call last night. And if they accepted the league's proposal, then the owners would vote to complete the deal at the annual league meeting in March. But it doesn't seem like people really, really want it. So this thing is going to continue on, unfortunately, unless people come to their senses. I don't know what they want. Reed, obviously, you remember he was the first player to kneel beside Kaepernick last season during the Ladders demonstration to shine a light of police brutality and social injustice. Then Kaepernick opted out of his deal with the 49ers in the spring and has remained unsigned, with some believing that he is being blacklisted from the league, which a lot of people in the league say that's just simply not true. Anyway, I was getting hopeful. As a fan, I enjoy watching the Super Bowl most of all. I can't lie. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, I was hopeful this year. We've been hopeful since Tony Dungy, man. Can we get Dungy back? Because I think there's a Dungy curse. I mean, Gruden, you know, everybody says it was on the wind of Dungy's back, and the team was all ripe and ready. And of course, you know the story. Dungy left, went to Indiana, boom, there you go, and won a Super Bowl. But hey, what a great coach, what a great legacy that leaves behind. But anyway, you know, I am not saying that social injustices don't happen. They do happen. Police brutality, unfortunately, does happen. Next week, we're going to be talking about police brutality. We're going to talk about some brutalities that happen where people die. And officers are able to stay in the force with no good explanation. Where officers have beefs against certain people, they don't like them, they shoot them dead, and able to stay a police officer and actually awarded medals for killing the wrong person. So we're going to be talking with a mother that actually went through that, and some other people that have gone through that. And Kay Reitz, who used to be the producer of the broadcast, is putting all this together, and we're going to be working side by side with her next week. And we're going to be talking about what's being done with a new foundation that they've put together, a new coalition, if you will, that actually combats some of this stuff that happens. And unfortunately, it's just a reality that there are bad apples that exist in a lot of municipalities across our country, and that has to stop. But there has to be an uprising. There has to be people that are willing to stand, put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, but really care about their citizens in their towns, their cities. And when they see an injustice, they need to speak up loud and clear. A lot of people don't want to do it because of fear. And we saw that with some of the broadcasts. We had courageous people that came out when we did some live broadcast up in Neenah, Wisconsin, and with the Michael Funk case. And it'll be 2 years coming up in just a little bit here of his unlawful. It was terrible. They killed him. The police, the guy called for help because there was an idiot that came in that held him hostage along with another person in the building, and the police ended up shooting the wrong person, so they say. It was an accident. But we've learned that they knew exactly what the guy looked like, his sight, his profile, and clearly could see them in their view. And they didn't shoot him once. They didn't shoot him twice. It was his whole revolver. They just went up to him and just popped him again. And then they said on the radio, let's give him another one to make sure he's good and dead. Just ridiculous. Guilt ran all over that. And it's just a sad sleazeball story. And we're hoping to get some justice for the Funk family and for other families that have had things happen around the country to them. And you're going to be hearing from some people that are doing an amazing work. And if you have a story of some injustice that's happened to you, we'd like to hear about it here at For the People, forthepeopleshow.com. And if we can air out the story and do some good, that's what we're here to do for you. But we find it a privilege to be able to offer the airwaves to worthwhile causes like that. And like I say, this is not an anti-police officer, anti-law broadcast, because we love law enforcement officials. We just don't like the bad ones, and that allow them to even stay on the force after they've had repeated incidences and questionable behavior. And these are the people that don't deserve to have a badge. Nobody should just have a badge. They have to earn it. And not just going through an academy, but if they screw up and they throw their power around and they abuse people unlawfully, they need to be removed quickly, expediently. And I believe justice will come. I truly believe that. A 13-year-old Ohio boy had a apparent bug problem in his bed. You ever say to your kid, don't let the bed bugs bite you? Well, this 13-year-old Ohio boy wasn't having it anymore, and what he decided to do is take things in his own hands to kill these bed bugs once and for all. He started a fire to try to kill them, and unfortunately, it caused a lot of damage. Officials say the fire in it was Cincinnati, Ohio, reported around 11 p.m. this Tuesday. It began when the teen lit a match after dousing a bed bug with alcohol. So lit it on fire, tried to kill it. 6 apartment units were damaged in the fire in the building. This apartment building we're talking about, $300,000 in damage. $300,000 displaced 8 people. 6 apartments were damaged in the fire. No injuries, luckily, were reported. The Red Cross working to find housing for 3 adults, 5 children whose apartments were damaged. But